Hi, my name is Leah. In this video, I will introduce you to a method called Stop and Think Note-Taking. This method will help you to understand and remember any text you are reading. And the method is very simple. After each paragraph that you read, you stop for a moment and you think, what is this text about? What I have learned from this paragraph? And then you write some notes. You can write these notes in your own language. When you finish reading the text, you can look at all your notes and think about the whole text, how the different paragraphs connect with each other, and what you have learned from this text. But before we begin reading, there are two things we must do. Number one, we must look at the title. This tells us what the text is all about. And number two, we must look through the whole text and check how long it is. Perhaps there are a few sections with headings. Perhaps there is a picture. All these things help you to prepare to read the text. Now, let's look at the text. This text is 1 page long and there are only 4 short paragraphs. I will probably make a few notes on each paragraph. Let's begin by looking at the title. Can you multitask? So the topic of this text is multitasking, doing lots of things at the same time. Notice the title is a question. Can you multitask? Perhaps the text will answer this question. Think for a moment. Do you know anything about multitasking? Do you think multitasking is a good or bad idea? Now, let's read the first paragraph. Many of us listen to music when cooking, or we watch a movie when riding an exercise bike. We also send emails and text messages while in a Zoom meeting. In today's digital world, we have to deal with so much information and so many notifications and demands. It seems that the only way to cope is to multitask. So, what did we just read? The first 2 sentences are examples of doing 2 things at the same time. Aha! These are examples of multitasking. So what's the author saying about multitasking? The author says, we have to deal with so much information. This sounds like a problem, and then ends with multitasking seems the only way to cope. This sounds like a solution. Is this solution that the author likes? Well, he does write seems, so maybe not. We need to keep reading to find out. Let's stop and think and write our notes. We have too much to do in today's world. Maybe multitasking is the solution. Perhaps you did not understand that paragraph when I read it. Perhaps you need to look up some of the words in a dictionary. Sometimes we need to read a text several times before we can understand it and write a note. Feel free to pause this video and go back to read or hear the text read again. Let's go to the next paragraph. When we multitask, we feel like we're being efficient. But are we really doing more in less time? Scientists have found that we never really do 2 or more things at the same time. Our brains can only concentrate on one thing at a time. If we try to do 2 or more things that need our concentration, then our brain keeps switching from one to the other. What is this paragraph telling us? The second sentence starts with a but. The sentence suggests that opposite of the first sentence. We feel like we are being efficient, but are we really being efficient? The answer to this question begins in the next sentence. Scientists have found that we never really do two or more things at the same time. Okay, so we don't really multitask. We don't do two things at the same time. The text explains that our brains can only concentrate on one thing at a time. So let's write that as a note. Scientists say we cannot multitask. And then we are given the reason. Because our brains can only concentrate on one thing at a time. Let's add that as a note. We also need another note that explains when we are doing lots of things at the same time, then our brains keep switching from one thing to another. Okay, let's stop and think for a moment. We have read 2 paragraphs and taken 5 notes. We have too much to do in today's world. Maybe multitasking is the solution. Scientists say we cannot multitask. Our brains can only concentrate on one thing at a time. Our brains keep switching from one thing to another. There seems to be a problem with multitasking. It is not something we can do. Let's read the next paragraph. We have the illusion that we are doing things at the same time because our brains are able to switch very quickly between tasks. You may not think that this matters. The question is, if we seem to be multitasking successfully, does it matter how the brain does this? It seems our brain tricks us. There is an illusion. We think we're doing things at the same time because the brain switches between things very quickly. And the text asks, does it matter? Maybe if it seems like multitasking, then it is multitasking. Let's add a note. Multitasking is an illusion. And let's add another note. Does it matter? Let's find out what the author says in the last paragraph. Studies have shown that when the brain switches between different tasks, it becomes tired. The accuracy and the quality of our work decreases. We also get less done than if we give each task our full concentration. When we multitask, we are actually less efficient. It is clear from scientific research that doing things one after the other produces better results. So, this paragraph made it clear that our brains get tired when we try to multitask, and tired brains don't do good quality work. This all sounds like a problem. Let's add a note to the text. Problems of trying to multitask. Your brain gets more tired, the work is lower quality, and you are less efficient. And let's end with a final note. Don't multitask. Do one thing at a time. So, if we look at our notes, we can see that the topic of the text is multitasking. What do you think the main idea is? What is the author telling us about multitasking? The main idea of the text is multitasking is not a good idea. And the author told us that scientists say that we don't really multitask. What we actually do is switch our focus back and forth quickly. And then we get tired, we do less work, and we produce lower quality work. And there was a clear conclusion. Multitasking is not a good idea. Focus on one thing at a time. By reading our notes, we were able to understand the whole text. And if we need to learn about the subject for an exam, then we only need to read our notes and we will more easily remember what was in this text. We can see that if we stop and think and make notes when we're reading, it will help us to understand all the information in a text. I hope that you will do this next time you read a text.